on.
So we'll bring up the map veto on your screen right now. Supremacy first, Mockit second, and what maps will be gone? Consulate and Villa, as they were played in the previous play week by these teams. Border, Clubhouse, Oregon, and drumroll, please, will it be another Coastline, or do we get to see Bank? No, Coastline 2.0.
Not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, Coastline, the most played map of this season so far, if I'm not mistaken. It just keeps showing up.
And it's one that I think Mockit likes to play quite a bit. Although I feel like they had a lot of strength on it back when they had Hungry playing that kind of Ying role before that started getting banned. And you had Rips playing a lot of Glaz before Glaz started getting banned. And it was, they had some strengths that I don't know if are there necessarily anymore. But they also have played this map so much that I think they have it figured out pretty well. But the question is, do the new guys on the team have it figured out pretty well? Does Corey and Baka Brian have the same level of map knowledge of Coastline that the rest of the team brings?
Yeah, that is a big question. I mean, you look at teams like Evil Geniuses, for example, and when they played on Consulate just a few days prior, they did against Space Station Gaming. They got a 6-2 in their favor, and that was with MVK not in play, Necrox taking a spot. And again, that a lot you can say it's due to personal preference of what maps do each of these individual players like to play. We all know Necrox likes to play Consulate, and he performed very well on that. So, all that said, though, community vote. Who wins? Last time you guys were correct. This time it will be 55% Mockit, 35% Supremacy, and 10% draw.
That's surprisingly low for Mockit against the team that's this far down in Supremacy, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of faith in Supremacy to have a good day, finally, especially with Mockit's constant roster changes. Going to be a bit of a problem for them, but I do think it probably should skew towards Mockit. They are still somewhat strong as a team, even if they can't necessarily keep it together with their original roster. I think there's some good core there. We'll see, though, if they can pull it off today, as Coastline, as we were talking about, is a map that suits them very well. I mean,
I think it suits everybody. I mean, we've been seeing Coastline played so very much, and all that said, here we go, into Coastline. Very exciting to see this map again. We're probably going to see a lot of the same play style that we just saw from Millennium and G2. Who knows, though? As the operator ban phase starts out, Supremacy are going to be first, which means they will also be defending.
See what they go to take off here. And I imagine a Lion going to be involved in one side or the other. If not, I know Mockit will definitely run a Lion for sure.
I would imagine Lion's going to get banned, but first it'll be Glaz from Supremacy. So we'll see what Mockit chooses to do.
Doesn't surprise me, as I was just mentioning, Rips has a very good Glaz, and this is a good Glaz map anyways. So seeing that get banned, not a big surprise, and there's the Lion to go. We did have some surprises on the defensive bans last match, so we'll see what we get this time around. As it didn't seem to matter too much that Mirror was still in play. Clash, definitely not going to be a factor here. Although that means Maverick is also still on the board as a possibility, and we saw some decent play from Aces on that against G2. We had Fabian commenting on that as well. We'll see what the last one's going to be here. And then, there we go, that's a more typical one. Not the Valkyries before, which means we'll probably see Valkyrie in play here.
So, you're absolutely right. Valkyrie will probably be part of the solution to the lack of a Mira. Also, we do have that Maestro and Echo still available to the defense, as well as Smoke. So no information from Smoke, of course, but perfect indirect denial utility there, should they choose to use it. Looks like it's going to be Billiards as the very first site for Supremacy, which is, it's not your typical starter site.
Oh, nope,
but
they switched it up even.
Oh, look at that.
It was contested for a second.
Going to very much your typical starter site in Penthouse. So, interesting rotation. Well, I mean, not really. No surprise there, I guess. But operator selection is as you would expect it to be. They have brought the Maestro and the Echo and the Smoke. So they want to really make sure that they can deny that diffuse plant, which makes a lot of sense on a map, or match rather, such as this, and on a site such as Penthouse, where you're going to be planting at a lot of corners that are less exposed directly to the defenders when they're trying to hold from the projector.
Well, Smart Baka Brian brought the IQ because, of course, last match Echo was banned because it's not. This time, that is definitely something you want to be able to take out as those yokai drones, especially hanging out at Penthouse, because you do have opportunities to be able to find angles from the window, for example, if you're able to figure out where that's at, sometimes from the Hall of Fame door as well. There are plenty of ways, if there is the Echo drone in there, to find an opportunity to kill it earlier, to go for any kind of smoke-related plant as they have the Capital to do. So I think their attacker lineup as well somewhat complements what they're going to need to do on this site. It's interesting, though, that they did not stick with the Ying. Just switching over to an Ashe, which is not going to be bringing a lot in utility, means it's going to be relying a lot more on Corey to frag out as opposed to supporting the plant.
You know, the IQ also going to be very useful at countering out a potential Valkyrie. Now, there is a Valkyrie being played here, but looks like we're going to have a rehost. So, no action in the immediate as we go ahead and restart the round in all likelihood. We'll see what the admins decide to call there, but I think it's well within. No rehost is being called by the admins, so we will continue to play. Admin call is final, of course, and life will move on. Supremacy will play this round with 1 man down.
No echo on the board now, and this is definitely going to be a little bit easier to plant, potentially. This means they might have to roam maybe even a little more aggressively. K6 does return, but too little too late. He will be here for the next round, preventing a probable rehost before the next one. So that is good for everyone watching, I suppose, just not great for Supremacy.
Yep. So here comes the push now in through luggage. Baka is going to take out Alfalma, so it's getting worse and worse for Supremacy at the beginning of this round. Rip's calling out information for Corey, so Corey can make this push, but Corey also chooses to drone for himself, not distracting his teammate any further. And it will be destroyed by the Maestro Evil Eye at the end of the hallway, which is going to prompt Corey to take care of that Evil Eye. Probably the right call there. Very interesting, Supremacy has 2 people playing the same exact angle. One of them will go down to Vale. The second one not also dying, so it seems maybe he came off at just the right moment. But Mockit have managed to shred the attack, or the defenders rather, so far, as Anthrax gets his very first kill, and his team's very first kill. Vale will also eat some bullets as he attempts to push out of luggage. Now, of course, the objective here for Vale is to open up the wall and get an access point into A, which he is going to start doing. He has plenty of time to accomplish this task as well. As you can see, 1 whole minute. And Corey's going to take out Anthrax's last teammate, leaving it all up to the Maestro. As he starts challenging, he'll get another kill, like Corey shuts him down from the trophy hallway. A very one-sided round for Mockit, all starting with that disconnection from K6.
I feel like the only thing that didn't work out for them in that round is you had Buck down below trying to take out the batteries, and that was quickly countered by Anthrax on the Maestro, because that was somewhat predictable that they were going to try and take out those batteries at that point, now that Bandit was dead. But it was read into, nonetheless, it was still a battery taken out that couldn't be replaced because Bandit was dead, and they were just able to open the wall after that. But great flank by Corey. It reminded me a lot of those takes you see on Oregon Basement, where you have the Ash just run around from tower side while everyone else is trying to plant laundry, and they're so distracted. But the lack of manpower meant they were definitely going to be distracted. So Corey pretty much had free reign to come around from behind, and good taking advantage of the lower man count from Mockit. Good start for them.
Yeah, you could see the ferocity in the way that Mockit was playing, just putting their bodies to the task and forcing themselves to take any fight that they could find. And it worked out great for them. Supremacy not really putting up much of a fight in that last round. Now, they are going to go to Kitchen as the second bomb site. And Anthrax currently the only one with any kills in Supremacy. He did try that last round to make something happen. Interestingly, he has rotated off of the Maestro onto Castle. So a little bit of operator fluidity here for the defense.
Well, they still had someone else switch over to the Maestro, so Tactics is going to take that role. And then they have an alibi. Should be interesting to see if that has any impact on this, at least on perhaps the roam clear. I mean, it's definitely an interesting bomb site to go to as your secondary.
Yeah, usually you consider Kitchen to be the primary, but we also saw Kitchen as the primary from both G2 and Millennium in the match just prior today. But it's not the end of the world that you're going to its second.
No.
One thing that is kind of shocking is how spread out the roamers are for the defense right now. You can see that they are trying to encompass a large portion of the match. Corey just narrowly missing some shots there onto Alfalma, and the Jaeger will manage to sneak himself away.
Absolutely looked like it should have been a headshot too, but it might have just been the timing of the bullets going through.
Yeah, very lucky there for Alfalma.
Yeah, very lucky. A little bit late on the... They got to be more careful when it comes to placing that barbed wire down, especially when there is an Ash in play.
Yeah, the aggression from Mockit shining through yet again. They already have control over security, and that's Corey starting to drone out. Will he spot Alfalma, though, as he's checking the wrong areas right now? I don't think he actually saw the Jaeger, and now he's going to start pushing out of security without checking the main lobby. Huge blunder there for Corey. That's why you usually have somebody support you by droning ahead, but not going to happen for Mockit. And now you can see Baka has to isolate the flank somehow. He's going to choose to use a Claymore. But that's a lot of pushing power from the side that Mockit just lost, and they did rely on Corey's flanking potential in the previous round, so not having it here is going to hurt them.
Yeah, it might just be a little more one-dimensional of an attack, but nonetheless, at least they are droning out the flanks, making sure they know where things are going to be. We did see the alibi drones earlier manage to get some marks on people, so those are doing a little bit of their job, and the fact that G-Juice is still left alive, it's definitely going to work out in their favor because they have the advantage here with that kill onto Corey. And at least the Echo is still in play this time as he is not disconnected. So they are in a good spot to defend this out, as they still have a fair amount of map control as well for defenders.
You can see that Vale has managed to make his way into a planting position, and Rips is there to cover. There is a player in close proximity able to deny this, and Tactics will land the shots. Bad cover from Rips results in him now finally being disoriented and forced out of the kitchen. That was a mistake for Rips, the Capitao, to be certain. Tactics was downed, but his job done. It's not really going to matter. With 52 seconds left, KS will get the first kill for Mockit onto one of the flanking defenders who was playing above. Of course, that alibi no longer in play. Baka will need to pick up the diffuser very quickly, and it has been called out that Tactics is down. He will get that kill before picking up the diffuser and now finally going for the plant yet again. Rips needs to do the job better this time. He has another opportunity to cover, but there is a Yokai drone above the planter right now. And more importantly, K6 is in a position to deny the plant outright by simply shooting through the wall. Where is the cover for Mockit? Rips will take out Anthrax as he pushes into the site. KS as well has to push now from delivery. Not a great position, though, for either of the attackers. As you can see, these last two defenders playing well off site, just trying to deny the defuse plan as long as possible, and they will be successful. Supremacy take their first round in this match, thanks to a really great roam game and absolutely no attentiveness to that roam game from Mockit.
Yeah, just letting them have all of that map control absolutely backfired. When Echo doesn't even have to get on his drone to deny your plant, that is an unfortunate situation to be in. I mean, Rips, unfortunately, just did not really do his job there. He had firebolts to potentially even deny it without shooting. That could have given his teammate plenty of opportunity, whether or not he was watching the flank correctly. So just a bit of a misplay there by Rips on the Capitao ultimately cost them because they had to keep throwing bodies at the same diffuser position, ultimately not working out. Kept getting close, but even if Echo hadn't managed to land the shots, he still could have switched to his Yokai drone, done the work from there. But Hookah's where we're going to go next. They're not going to try Penthouse again just yet. But so far, that is 1-1. Supremacy with a good round to make up for that first round where they got pretty well dismantled. That round, though, I would say almost the opposite for Mockit, who just completely ignoring the roamers absolutely backfired on them. Well, we'll see the 6th pick from that Frost to the Valkyrie, so that Valkyrie sneaking out that didn't get banned.
So, it's going to be hold of the billiards here. We saw it teased at the beginning of the match, but not actually being played by Supremacy. Now they're finally going to go here. Managed to win on the default side of Kitchen, so they're not out of this yet, as much as the odds are stacked against them, considering the history of the season so far. Interestingly, they are going to open up the majority of the wall into B. You usually do see this happen, but mostly on the west side of that wall, not so much on the east. Clearly, they're wary of a aquarium take, as those holes would suggest, as well as the abundance of barbed wire in the aquarium.
Well, they're at least still getting set up, and Corey can take advantage of that yet again if he's able to get in quickly, but he's on the other side of the map, so not going to happen just yet. We'll see if he can live a little bit longer, though, on his approach. I think he had a decent approach last time, but he did get a little sloppy on the droning, and I think that really kind of sums up a lot of the round last time, just sloppy on the droning and not controlling where the defenders are. Hopefully will not make that mistake this round, as he was very impactful that first round when he was able to get away with it.
Yeah, if he's able to find himself on a flank, Corey can do a lot of damage. But he's got to do more than that as he tries to challenge the Jaeger downstairs. He will down Alfama. Unable to secure the kill. Took him a little bit there, but he managed to make it happen.
That's what matters.
That is what matters indeed. Now that he's taken out one of those roamers, that's going to help Mockit quite a lot, because as we saw in the previous round, the reason that Supremacy were able to win is all thanks to those roamers. Corey will take out a second roamer. That's Dejus. So he pushes towards the bathroom over by Kitchen. Baka eliminating Anthrax means that this round is pretty much over at this point. And Supremacy now in a 2 versus 5, and they are feeling very pressured, as you can see by the way they play. not in great positions to hold out against a complete push from the Aquarium, but they are going to do some damage to Corey as he attempts to push from L. Definitely some important damage being done, but will it matter in the end? We'll wait and see. K6 will secure that kill finally. Corey playing a pretty basic angle will go down. Gas canisters from Tactis is actually going to slow the push from Aquarium, but not the defuse plant. And you can see Vale just trying to cut off rotation. He will be successful in that endeavor. Whipping out the pistol, no more SMG for him. He will lose the fight to K6. K6 is the only one with any kills right now for Supremacy in this round. He's got to find 3 more and an ace in order to win it, and then also get the defuse disable. But it's not going to happen. Baka finishes him off. Mockit take the round, and they put themselves up 2-1.
Well, definitely a good round with him. It's funny to see how much K6 is playing on his gun versus his Echo drones. I mean, in this case, he might have lost the Yokai due to the IQ, but nonetheless, he's getting a lot more action going with that MP5 than he is with his Yokai drones, and that, I guess, is working out to an extent because he's done some good denial 2 rounds in a row with it.
Got to say, though, if you're having trouble using your Yokai drones because there's an IQ on the other team, then either A, figure out a way to position them where they're not going to be exposed to the IQ as readily, or B, stop playing Echo.
Yeah.
Pick an operator that can influence the round more directly.
I could see him, playing fine as a Doc or a Rook as well to be able to help his teammates to an extent. It's not going to have the same impact on denial of the plant or anything, but they're still very effective operators at doing the kinds of peaks he's doing.
Baka's going to stay on that IQ. Definitely not allowing the Echo to find usefulness. If he had picked IQ and presented that to Supremacy might have 6-picked off of their Echo, considering the Yokai drones have been destroyed so efficiently thus far. But since they did not know that the IQ would still be played, they could not know that they would have to confront them in this round. So, good choice there, I think, for Mockit. Trying to take every advantage that they can, and every advantage they know they have, and just lock it up. Ensure that they can maintain it throughout the round.
Absolutely. It is surprising, despite the strong start we saw from Corey last time, that they just weren't able to really get a lot going on. And I think some of that was just due to some good angle play as well by some of the defenders. It's just, I don't think that Mockit are doing a good enough job on getting the positioning of the defenders. We saw that, as well as on the roamers. It's just, when they go to actually make the plays, I don't think they have the intel or communication to actually execute on a lot of these defenders. Instead, we're seeing, for example, when Mockit was winning, sometimes it was them just holding angles and waiting for the defenders to peek, rather than knowing where the defenders are and being able to pre-fire those specific positions. Now that Tactis is bringing a mute jammer, it's going to be even harder for whatever droning they were doing. I mean, with new members of the team, communication could be an issue as well, as opposed to just droning things out not being their strength. We'll see.
So, speaking of droning, information now, primary objective for Mockit. You can see they've established there are no roamers downstairs, and that is very important information for KS to have. He's aware of the holes just above him as he starts to push in through the main lobby, and I'm sure he will address them as such. He also sees a Yokai drone. That's potentially some free utility, but KS going to miss some really important shots, and the Yokai drone will expose itself further, and we won't know if he manages to get it or not, but seems as the opportunity has passed. Nice shots here from Corey on the long range. Will do a lot of damage to the Legion and Dejus. KS also takes out Alfama, who rotated downstairs, possibly. And Corey gets Dejus, leaving the last 3 defenders all stuck inside of Home Theater Projector. This is not a great situation right now for Supremacy. They're all just trapped in a corner. And you can see that Mockit are just going to start applying pressure to the south wall. And the slaughter will likely to begin soon. But oh wow, well-placed Evil Eye. Going to do some damage to those X-Garros charges.
Well, it's not enough to stop all the wall from being opened up in terms of angles, but it is going to definitely make it so they can't walk in.
Tactis will take out Rips as he challenges the close angle. Despite the proximity here, you can see the attackers struggling a little bit to find their angles and get these fights.
Well, they have everything they need to make this work, but they are definitely getting slowed down, but at least they have a minute to execute on this.
Yeah, they've been so efficient in their attack so far that they can take their time now as they start their final push. Great positioning here from the Mute of Tactis, Anthrax will go down. Another kill presenting itself though to Tactis as he could potentially get this onto the Habana. He sees it, but he cannot land it. Mockit will lock out the round, and they put themselves up 3-1.
It's funny to see an effective Ashe being used against Supremacy because the one player that Supremacy dropped was their Ashe player of Alive, who was very strong at that. So it's kind of, I don't know, I find it kind of ironic to see Corey playing it so well against them.
Yeah, he is playing it well, though. That's the most important thing. I mean, when you pick an Ashe as an operator, you're sacrificing a decent chunk of utility that you could get from pretty much anybody else. But what you're doing is you're leaning on that fragging potential. And you're hoping that it'll shine through. And as long as your Ashe player is fragging, then it's definitely still a very useful pick.
Yeah.
You can see there, Corey was considering just picking into a Blackbeard, but figured, hey, may as well 6-pick it. They know I've been playing Ashe a lot. I could surprise them with a shield in front of my face. And he's going to do just that. No 6-pick from Supremacy, though. They haven't been 6-picking very much, if I recall.
Yeah.
They've just been kind of going with their lineup.
Well, I mean, I'd say it's been working, but score-wise, it definitely has not.
So if you're wondering how 6-picks work and how the reveal phase works, basically, you have a period of time to select your operators, and your opponents can't see what you're selecting. And then once the reveal phase happens, basically, your opponents will see all the operators that you have, and they will see what, or you will also see what they have. And then after that, there's a brief pause, and the 6-pick phase happens, and each team can change one of their operators, and their opponents will be none the wiser.
And the other small detail, of course, is that you don't see which players picked on which is a minor thing, but I think at a higher level play can start to affect some of the trickery you can play, but isn't going to be a big deal.
No. So, you can see Supremacy going to be playing upstairs, these holes being opened, as they will very likely be playing by billiards, trying to apply pressure to VIP to any attackers who should pressure their way in there. Heavy roam for Supremacy. It's worked out for them in the past. It is, of course, the only reason that they won the second round on Kitchen. And they are, of course, on Kitchen again. So they're hoping that the reliance on those roamers will bear fruit yet again. But Mockit seem to be aware of the strategy from Supremacy, and they have shifted their strategy accordingly. They will be going roam hunting, as is evident by the drones and the positioning on this north balcony.
Well, those holes that they have opened up could work against them there, the way it's being played, but I got to imagine they're going to be using that, especially if they need any kind of retake-like scenarios onto that area upstairs, which is going to be a big deal. If you can run by and see that there's no one in the room, makes it much easier to be able to go in for the retake. K6 is going to be trying the Echo Drone again. We see him kind of fumbling around on the Yokai. I'm just, as we mentioned earlier, maybe K6, not necessarily the best Echo player, does fine with the MP5, as you see him using it again. Now that he's got it set up, but
he hasn't been doing great with the Yokai so far, that's for sure. But there's still time for that to change. He is, of course, going up against Baka on IQ, who has been playing very efficiently with this operator. So that could be a reason why. Anthrax in a very exposed position, but it doesn't seem like Baka... Ooh, Baka may have just spotted him. Goes for the pre-fire, but Castle's already moved, and Anthrax has made his way back into the regular site. Very, very exposed position. Could have potentially gotten him killed or gotten a free kill. Thanks to Baka droning out before he peeked it, though. Nothing really came of it.
Well, they are going to start opening up a lot of the floor and take advantage of this map control they have. That could often get a Buck player killed, and KS has taken a significant amount of damage, but they have some advantage here. However, they are getting set up for the pressure on VIP, and K6 takes full advantage of it, and that's the big concern. That's why they had those holes open, is to be able to retake some of that top floor. So they're going to need more people upstairs to watch each other's flanks, or to start putting a lot faster pressure here on the site.
Baka is fixated on that angle, unaware that the Castle of Anthrax has rotated already. And that is going to slow down this push quite a lot. Corey trying to push from the main lobby. Interesting that he is not being flanked right now. He also doesn't have the information. Oh, as I say it, it will happen. Dejuz does take out Corey on the flank. Baka, though, with a kill and rips one for himself, so it's not all over yet for Mockit. Here comes the smoke and a plant in the default position. Very exposed to plant default, but it might just work out in the end, as Baka is being allowed to stick it. He sees the impact hole next to him and will eat a lot of damage, trying to do his own damage, but Alfalma takes out his teammate on the flank, and Anthrax so close. Baka has no chance. Mockit will go down. Supremacy keep themselves alive in this match. They will lose the half to 3-2 in Mockit's favor, but they didn't lose it absolutely.
Yeah, much, much better than a 4-1 situation, for sure, going into that second half. We'll see, though, how their attacks go and whether or not Mockit's defenses are a little bit more efficient. I feel like they just, again, ignored too many of the roamers on that round. They gave up... I mean, they took map control of the top floor, but they didn't really, flank watch it. They were so busy trying to take advantage to set up for the execute. No one was watching to make sure that K6 couldn't do his thing as Echo. And that seems to be a little bit of a problem for them when it comes to these takes. They're not properly securing their flanks or making sure that they don't get retake situations, things like that. Corey going to be switching over to that pulse. Should be interesting. And then again, 6 picks to IQs this time from the other side. K6 going to be doing that from the Jackal.
Yeah, the IQ just so good on this map against various forms of utility from the defense, and neither team will know that they've just had a counter in the favor of Supremacy, because those 6 picks are, of course, hidden to the world. But it is going to be so. Once the play actually starts up, it will be apparent. The Pulse, definitely a valuable operator to have, but against an IQ, so heavily countered.
Yeah, definitely going to be a problem for him if K6 manages to remain alive and catch out his positioning. Of course, that's when he's actually on the scanner, not when he's just doing shooting, things like that. I don't know if a pulse is as necessary when you're playing on a downstairs bomb site, of course, because a lot of his utility comes from being able to C4 upwards, but knowing where the approach is coming from is definitely useful on this particular bomb site. Still, we'll see how it plays out, as they have a similar attacker lineup coming out from the Supremacy guys that worked somewhat well from Mockit, but I guess was taken advantage of by Supremacy. So Mockit could look to take advantage of it the same way if they're trying to play from above. Maybe take out that buck while he's trying to do his thing.
So the options are abundant here for Supremacy. They have a lot of great tools to attack this site. They could just make a delivery push. They could also just lose Dejus very early on to a spawn peek from a very typical window at the top of the main stairs. That usually does not bear fruit, but it will here for Mockit. Options still abundant here for Supremacy. And despite losing Zofia, they have a good amount of control on the top floor already, whether they know it or not, since Mockit is being kind of tame up top. The only roamer anywhere near rotating to the top floor is Vale right now. He could go up the main stairs should he choose, but he's still playing pretty much downstairs.
Well, as long as he's able to stay alive, he has the cameras to help cover his own flank, assuming he doesn't get caught on those. K6, though, with a nice early kill on Baka. Of course, another appropriate irony there as he killed the IQ player from the other side.
Yeah, and of course, it was probably just Baka on drone seeing through the floor. And that's an unfortunate situation for Baka. And KS as well, as Anthrax just peeks in through the main lobby, gets a kill, making it harder and harder for Mockit. Anthrax has been lit up, though, on very little HP. He will die to pretty much anything. Corey will take out K6 as well, so this has actually shifted pretty rapidly to favor Mockit from what seemed like favor Supremacy. Supremacy seems a little bit fixated on this main lobby. I have to say, they have been fighting around the main door for a decent chunk of the round, and it seems to be a bit of a distraction. They are going to reset Anthrax, so he'll actually be back in this fight officially. But they're going to continue to try and push the main lobby, and you can see Vale aware of the utility usage, trying to peek and get a kill. He will lose to Tactis, who perfect timing on the prone there. We haven't seen an actual drop shot in a while, but it works out for the Capitao. Rip's also eating some damage, so no immediate response from Mockit. So little time here, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough spot to be in. At least the smoke is coming out.
Well, the smoke to cover the potential plant in through delivery, but it's not happening yet. Corey positioning himself aggressively inside a delivery to try and stop this before it even starts. Sees the Hibana, lands the shots. Diffuser has been down with only 17 seconds left, and now Mockit are in a great position with the final 2 attackers not anywhere near that Diffuser. Rips will take out Tactis thanks to one of the Valkyrie cams calling information, and Rips gets a second onto Alfalma. Great holdout there from Mockit. They will take the round. Their first one on defense.
Well, they definitely lost quite a few people early on, but their ability to turn that back around for Mockit, absolutely working out for them. 2 men playing in the lobby actually seemed like it was working for a while, but Tactis played very well against it. Couldn't manage to kill Corey, but nonetheless, it was a good play onto Vale, getting that kill with that drop shot, as you pointed out. And nonetheless, they still lost the round, though, and I like that even the hole at the bottom of the reinforced wall actually working out in favor to be able to fight back against the lobby. And just lobby seemed like an all-important area there in terms of trying to take that, as well as the delivery door. And just some good peeks by Mockit. Some worked, some didn't. They're going to be going to bar for the secondary site, though, so they're not going to try penthouse just yet.
Attackers need to locate
Double
and
bar,
defuse
definitely
as many
a
bombs
formidable
as they
site. Somewhere that Supremacy chose not to go on their defense. They went Penthouse, Kitchen, Billiards, and Penthouse Kitchen again. So
Yeah.
over here we have some variation from Mockit. Just a little bit so, though. Nothing too crazy.
Nothing too crazy. Well, some similar lineup, of course, again, from the attackers. It seems like we're seeing a fairly consistent and useful lineup. You've got your hard breacher, you've got your soft breachers, one of them being somewhat of an entry-ish role. You've got the ability to spot the gadgets, and you've got the ability to deny rotations and vision from Capitao. It's like kind of a nice Swiss Army knife of a team.
I like how much we've been seeing Capitao as of late.
Yeah.
Over the last about a couple weeks, Capitao has found himself very much in the meta, in vogue, and people are bringing him quite a bit. But pretty much every team, whether it be Latin America, North America, or Europe. I think less so in North America, but still everywhere.
Yeah, it's nice to see an operator get picked more and become in the meta without a buff. Without even any kind of indirect buffs to him.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he did see some buffs a while back, and I don't think they were like really felt throughout the community, and maybe they're just now starting to show themselves. But I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with the site misalignment fix. Who knows, man? It is absolutely great to see Capitao being played. I love this yokai drone positioning from Baka, the one in the open area. That's gonna befuddle their opponents.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something. Assuming it doesn't get spotted out, of course, by K6 and take it out early. But K6 is going to use, instead, his bullets on Rips' face. And that is going to be the Lesion off the board fairly early. A good start here for Supremacy, but we saw a good start from them last round get turned around. And Mockit have done a pretty good job of turning a lot of the rounds around. That's, of course, why they have the 4-2 scoreline. There was an attempt from K6 probably to take out a yokai, I imagine, but we didn't really see what it was.
Yep. We've seen a lot of great work from the IQ already from Supremacy. K6 doing getting another pistol kill. You gotta stay off your drones. Apparently, when you're playing against Supremacy and you're exposed to anything soft whatsoever, whether it be the ceiling or a wall, just stay off your drones.
Yeah.
Stay safe, kids.
Safety first.
Now,
bomb located by attackers.
seems like Supremacy are focusing entirely on taking this top floor. Once they get the top floor, open up the floor itself, and then start applying pressure to the B site. They have actually managed to isolate the B site entirely. The only defenders who can deny the push right now are outside of the site. You got KS zoomed in there on the side entrance door, waiting for the push from Supremacy. But K6 seems like he's the one who is going to try and disrupt this hold from the blue stairs.
Yep, he's definitely in a good position. It does spot the drone, but the drone spots him plenty well first. So K6 will be able to pre-fire. But when it comes to pre-firing, Maestro is king with 80 bullets.
He definitely got a lot of opportunity to hold multiple angles with that abundant magazine. Coming down to the last 30 seconds here for Supremacy, and they have definitely read the situation. They know they need to make the push, and here it comes. Diffuse plant going down a default corner. Anthrax will eat a lot of damage, and the yokai drone forces him off of plant. So a repositioned diffuse plant, but wow, Corey, the perfect position to deny this. He and KS will get quite a lot of kills between them, for Corey getting the final one, a 3K for him in the round. Mockit take it, all thanks to this position from the Jaeger.
Well, at the very least, they are going to lock Supremacy out of any chance of getting 3 points, which they direly need to try and get somewhere on that scoreboard of relevancy, and it's looking more and more like this is going to be Supremacy's last season for now in Pro League, if things keep up.
Yeah, it does definitely seem that way. They are so far behind the rest of the pack at this point, and going up against a team like Mockit, who has all these struggles they're dealing with right now with the roster changes, this is one of those opponents that you really do need to win. I mean, we were talking about this last week actually for Supremacy. They were playing against Penta, and we were discussing how this is one of the opponents that if you want to stay in Pro League, you need to be able to beat or at least draw. And they lost to Penta 6-3. So. It's not all over, I guess, mathematically for Supremacy. They can still fight their way out of the position they're in, but if they lose this, it gets so much harder.
I'm pretty sure they're, if not mathematically, close to mathematically being locked out of Rio, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think I'd say the odds of them getting to Rio are pretty slim to none.
Slim to none. At this point, just got to stay in.
Yeah, at this point, Supremacy is one of those teams that are just fighting to stay in Pro League. That's it.
Well, they just came up from Challenger League, into which they shall return soon. The way things are going, we'll see though. It'll be interesting to see who comes up from Challenger League. For example, we had Ents drop down there. Maybe there's a chance they'll switch places with Ents.
It does seem like the new Ents roster is capable of pushing their way into Pro League. They have been playing very well lately, and I think there's a lot of excitement behind them. And definitely the anticipation that they will find their way into Pro League again.
It'll be interesting to see as well for some of the former players of Mockit, Orglis at the time, Hungary and Para could work their way back in from Challenger League as well.
Very possible.
Or actually, I believe, now that I think about it, isn't Hungary on a current Pro League team though?
Yeah.
So just Para.
Yep. So Supremacy pushing their way, clearing out Projector and Penthouse.
You saw him spot that Valkyrie camera that was tucked in there as well on VIP, unfortunately.
They also
Not that they wouldn't now.
K6 has been doing some really great work on this IQ, so I think in terms of electronics, they're pretty much going to be gone with relative ease for this operator and this player.
Yeah, at this point, maybe they want to consider frost traps. Just anything at this point, especially if you're going to play kitchen.
Something to give themselves an edge, but you know, we'll see. I don't think they really need that much more of an edge. They're up already 5-2, so they're having a pretty good match so far. It's slow going here for Supremacy. They're just looking for some fights, and you can see that Mockit is choosing to play about as passive as you can, just waiting out the round as defenders often do.
It seems like the smart thing to do is staying alive here is a key for defenders, and Supremacy haven't seemed to win a ton of their gunfights outside of quite a few good initial ones from K6, but they are starting to at least get some top floor map control. They still need to push that over to Hookah though, and that's going to be the real struggle, is whether or not they can take any of that. We aren't necessarily seeing them push Aquarium though just yet, which is problematic for this attack.
Yeah, usually what you would see from the attackers is, hey, let's isolate Aquarium, push in from that south balcony, and then that's where we're going to make the take. But they're instead just trying to come from luggage, which is very dangerous. As you can see, Rips is just underneath Anthrax, and it can at any moment come from behind up those main lobby stairs. Supremacy is going to have to keep an active eye on those stairs, otherwise they risk the flank whenever Mockit chooses. Corey also pushing in through the south office, and he's going to get a relatively free kill here onto Alfalma. Really poor timing there for the Buck, and he'll go down. Two very lit players and one semi-lit player on Mockit, though, so this is not all over for Supremacy. It seems Anthrax has read the flank from Rips, and he will get the kill. Chaos takes out Tactus, though, so it's not complete dominance for Supremacy after that flank suppression. Speaking of flank, Corey from behind. Great position here at the end of luggage, going to do a lot of damage to this attack, leaving just Anthrax to use in a 2 versus 4. 2 versus 3 very lit players, though, so it's not the worst situation, but it's not going to matter in the end, as headshots are all, and Mockit will take the round and the match, 6-2. It's the second 6-2 of the day.
Certainly is, and this is a case where at least it's good to see that the roster changes haven't had a huge detrimental impact on Mockit. I mean, it wasn't a 6-0 or anything from them, and it was against a team that is a little bit low on the scoreboard. But either way, that is some good warm-up for them, getting into a match like this where they can kind of warm up with that teammate. Not that they haven't warmed up at all, but either way, I think this was definitely a good showing from Mockit for the most part.
Isn't a whole lot to talk about from that match, gotta be honest. It was pretty one-sided.
Yeah.
Supremacy, I think the best thing I could say about them is that K6 had some good IQ play. So props to K6 for that. Despite that, though, they were unable to win any of their attacking rounds. In fact, the only rounds they won were defenses of the kitchen, and that was thanks to their roaming